Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, what up? If you are new here, what up? Be sure to comment and subscribe and like, and you know what to do on YouTube. But I'm gonna dive right into today's topic of grad school, and I do have some notes on my phone just so I can stay on track and hit the points that I wanted to hit. I'll tell you a little bit about my program, why I chose the program, how I chose the program, and then just some things they don't tell you about grad school, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it gets ugly. Okay. For starters, I am pursuing my Master's of Education in Student Development and Leadership in Higher Education, which is a lot to say, but in short, it is a Master's in Higher Ed. I decided to go with this program because upon graduating my undergrad degree, I knew I wanted to go into student affairs, so I knew that a Master's was coming eventually. But before I did that, I talked to some people in the field, some previous supervisors, mentors, and I was like, hey, I need some insight. Is it worth it? Should I do it? And that kind of helped me redefine my why and understand a little bit more because, you know, working in different student affairs, so if you don't know what student affairs is, it's like if you're on a college campus, things like apartment and residence life, admissions can fall under student affairs sometimes, student org life, Greek life, all those different, like, we call them co-curricular activities, but sometimes the fun stuff. There's a lot of work that goes into it, so I've learned also through this master's program, and I wanted to be sure that if I was going to invest this time and this money, that it was going to be what I wanted to do. So I talked to some people in the field, and they really helped me a lot. So if, regardless of what program you're going to go into, look on LinkedIn if you don't have anybody in your network. Try to find somebody in the field and see if it's worth it. I mean, is that MBA really worth it? Is that going to get you to the point that you need to be? Which brings me to another point. Make sure you understand your why. Please understand your why. Don't take grad school as this thing to help you figure it out, because in my opinion, it's not worth the stress and the heartache to not understand why you're going through it. I would not suggest going to grad school as something to do for clout or to fill time in between finding a job, or I wouldn't suggest it just because it's a lot of work, and there were times when I was crying and I had to figure out why I was doing it. In fact, there was a moment where I just dropped my class where I just dropped my classes for the semester because I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot, and I needed to redefine why I was doing what I was doing, and not just with the master's, but with my life. I was like, you know, I had this purpose, and I don't want to get too deep, but I was like, I have this purpose, and how can I fulfill this purpose in this way? Okay, and so that once I was able to redefine that, it kind of helped push me and propel me forward to keep pushing with the program. But I was about 30% finished, and I was like, oh, I can stop right now. I don't have to have this master's. But then once I redefined what I wanted to do and remembered my why, it helped a lot. I chose the program because it was online, so it worked around my schedule. I personally did not want to have to leave and go to class after work and then come home, figure out what to eat, do homework, and do it again. I just didn't want that. I wanted an online experience. Now, with the online experience, please understand that online is not in person. I am a very in-person learner. So taking an online course, I thought, oh, I would have it in the bag. I took a few online classes in undergrad. It's not the same, sis, bro, or whatever you choose to identify as. Like, it's just not the same. So please understand and be real with yourself when you're deciding what method you want to take your master's, because, child. Paying for grad school, there are different ways that you can pay for it. Of course, there's loans. See if there's some scholarships. They're really hard to come by. Maybe your school may offer grants. I know when I applied for financial aid, did my FAFSA, I received some grants that kind of helped ease the burden. And I mean, they were like $500, $600, $700 grants that were, and my school is very affordable, so that really helped take off the load of paying for grad school. If you want to pay out of pocket, make sure you find an affordable school. And I know in some industries the name of the school matters, but for me, just having the master's and the experience mattered. So think about that too when you're choosing what you want to do. What they don't tell you about grad school, or what people told me and lied about, I was told that grad school was like undergrad. It would be a breeze, it would be easy, and I was lied to, okay? Lied to. This thing has not been easy. It has been very emotionally draining, and the only things that have kept me centered are my support system and God. Well, God and my support system, let's put it like that, because, you know, God be getting you through some things. If you are a believer, then you understand. It's been a journey, and it has been stressful, and there are times when you're just like, I can't do this, especially trying to find a balance between working, even if you don't work full time, but working and getting your classwork done and still trying to have a social life. Your social life is gonna take a hit, and you have to be organized in order to maintain somewhat of a social life. I mean, when I first started this program at 8 o'clock, jigging at the day party, and I'm like, crap, I have an assignment due at 11:59. By the time I get home, I'm not gonna want to do that, but I had to force myself to turn in an assignment literally at like 11:57, which is not okay. Make sure if you want to have a social life, you get your work done first. Now, the beginning of this current semester that I just finished, I actually had a trip every single weekend that aligned with my deadlines, so I had to be very intentional, and I use my planner faithfully. I had to be very, 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 very intentional in making sure that my homework was completed first. That way I can enjoy my time. I mean, I went to New Orleans for my birthday. I was like, I am not going to let this homework bog me down. So I did. There was one assignment that we had a discussion post that Thursday, and we left that Thursday for New Orleans. So I just logged on real quick, did 2 responses, and boom. Think about that when you're doing grad school. Your social life may take a little bit of a hit, but as long as you're organized, you may be able to maintain and still enjoy that brunch. If that's what makes you happy, if your friends and hanging out is what makes you happy, do it. But you have to do it in a very meaningful, purposeful, and intentional way. Like, don't just not do it, because if that's what makes you happy, you don't want to just cut everything out. We'll talk about self-care another day. Imposter syndrome is real. There are times when I was doing this program where I'm like, man, am I really doing this? Like, am I really allowing myself to do this? And that's not what imposter syndrome is, but for me, I didn't feel like I was worth being in a grad program. I struggle a lot. I'm very confident, but I do struggle a lot when it comes to academics, because my undergrad started off rocky, and I had an experience, and so sometimes I doubt myself in many ways. And there was a point maybe last semester where I was like, Arielle, no, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be here. So I had to give myself some pep talks and be like, you've gotten this far. And then I looked at my GPA for grad school, and I compared it to my undergrad GPA. And not that GPAs make anything, it does not define you, but I have done substantially better in grad school than I did in undergrad. And so for that, I am very proud of myself. And if you struggle in grad school, it's okay. One thing I would advise is making sure you communicate with your professors. You know, I do deal with a mental illness, and there were some weeks where I was really, really low. Really, really, really low. And I just emailed my professors, and I was just honest with them. You know, you don't have to tell all your business. I'm just very transparent, but you can just say, hey, I am dealing with some things right now. Is there any way I can get an extension, an extra 2 days? And don't be crazy with it and ask for a week, depending on your program, a week extension or anything like that. Make sure it's doable, but also put work in on your side. But be sure to communicate with your professors when there is an issue, because my professors are very, very understanding, and were like, thank you for letting me know ahead of time, and you can go ahead and submit it without penalty. So make sure you take care of yourself, and also communicate with your professors when there are things going on, because life happens. One other thing that kind of caught me off guard about grad school was the internship portion. So I don't have like a thesis or a comprehensive exam. Do think about that when you are choosing a program, because some programs do have you take a comprehensive exam. Some of them have you do a thesis. It really just depends on the field. For us, we had an internship, and I just completed my internship, but I kind of ran into that same issue that I would run into going to an in-person class. I had to leave my job, go to my internship for a few hours certain days during the week, and then come home, try to do my homework and cook and whatnot. And that was stressful. That was a lot. And I felt really drained during that period of time, because at the end of work, I just want to check out. And I was used to that routine, and adding that internship portion in, especially for an online class, it was a lot. So think about and look at the coursework that is on the program. I looked at all the courses and I compared it to a different program, and I figured, okay, I really like this coursework. I feel like this is going to help me get to where I want to go. Again, know your why, know where you want to go. So that's why I chose this program over a different program. Finally, again, I kind of touched on this earlier, be organized. Be organized. Make sure you manage your time very well, whether you use a calendar, reminders on your phone. Where's my planner? I use a planner. I live by my planner. I actually have 3 now to help organize work and school and my time. I'll have to touch on that another day too, but you have to find a way to stay organized, be on top of your deadlines. For me, writing stuff down and saying, okay, it's Tuesday, oh, this is due Friday by 5, or this is due Thursday by 11:59. I have X amount of days. Seeing that instead of being like, oh, 10 minutes before my assignment is due. It just helped me out. So find what works best for you and manage your time accordingly. Again, with your social life, with work, finding a balance really just helps in the overall grand scheme of things. That's all I really wanted to talk about just for now. I didn't want to get too deep into certain things, but the last thing is I just want to mention, just make sure you understand why you want to go to grad school. Make sure it's worth going to grad school. Is it going to pay off? Is it what's going to get you in the door? Sometimes that's what you need, is that master's just to get you in the door. Is it going to pay off in salary or in professional development or other learning experiences? And make sure you talk to people who are in the field and who have maybe gone through the program or the similar or same program as you. Talk to people. Talk to people. They will help you out, I promise. There are people who, in the middle of the program, I know that have gone through my particular one, who I've been like, hey, I need help with this. So think about that. Overall, I hope this video kind of helped a little bit. If you want me to dive deeper into certain topics about my experience with grad school or how I chose or whatever, be sure to comment down below. Again, follow me on Instagram at Arielle, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.